Good evening. Noswaith there. Apologies if there was a slight pause at the beginning there. It's a little bit hard to tell sometimes with my recorder whether it's started or not, so I normally wait until it sort of pings off into the background. Yes, good evening. I am Croizo. Welcome back to the channel. Here I am. I'm once again up in North Wales. Now that travel restrictions within Wales have been lifted, I've been able to move around a little bit, which is quite nice just to get away, staying in a self-contained unit as per the rules. One has to, there's so many rules one has to follow, but there we go. So this video, there's been a global release. So this game has finally had its global release. Seems long overdue. I'm sure that these things are more complicated than I understand. I must admit, when it comes to internet technology, and gaming rights and apps and whatever else have you. There's a lot I don't know. The game has developed massively since I started playing it, which was roughly, I would have said 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half. I'm not entirely sure. Certainly the graphics around the base have improved fairly dramatically. The range and skills and looks of the heroes have all improved. Some of them have had their names changed for various reasons. Let's see, have I got any of the ones that have had their names changed? None of them there. Let me see if I'm sure if I summon one. So Slate was here from the beginning. I remember Slate. Dakota was here, but she used to have a different slogan thing underneath. Nancy's relatively new. Billy's been around for a long time. Ashty, not sure about Ashty actually. Can't remember. So there's lots of different heroes than from when they started. I think Lena's old. Kurt is definitely old. Janice, pretty sure, is old. Billy again. Buzz has been here since the start. Callum has been here since the start. Can't help thinking he shouldn't be a 2-star. He just looks like a maniac. He should be a 3-star. Zoe's relatively new. The one I'm particularly looking for is one, I think he's called Colbert now, but he was originally something else. Morse has been around for a fair while. Don't know about Anya. Can't remember. Janet. The trouble is, these are all foods, so you don't really notice the ones you're eating. There we are. Seo-Jun has been around for a long time because I remember being annoyed that he's holding a crowbar and the number of your heroes that need a crowbar. Anyway, so yeah, if you are sort of new to this game, I will probably have to redo some of my, how to play the game videos and so on and so forth, because now that the game has had a global release, hopefully there will be sort of a bit of an influx of new players. I mean, certainly the possibility is there. The game is very similar in some ways to Empires and Puzzles, but quite different in other ways as well. Personally, I prefer this game, but that's a personal thing. I like the things I like about this game, so let's just quickly have a think about the differences, because like I say, this video is really just a very, well, not, I say very short, I know I ramble, a relatively short video on the differences between the two. So obviously you've got your let's start in the top left, you've got your avatar. There's me, Farmer Ben, much the same as ever, much the same as Ian P, no real differences there. Your 3 chests underneath that. I'll start at the top left and work my way down anti-clockwise. Enemies, heroes, and war machines. So a lot of this, if you've played Empires and Puzzles, will be very familiar. Path of Valor, more or less the same. Events are basically your quests. There's a few different ones. I quite like that there's an alliance event where you're all working together to score points and so on and so forth. Collect gold is basically collect gems, and mine metal 2 is basically the same. Raids are more or less the same. The base thing is much the same. The roster, the heroes are different. You've got different heroes. They do different things. There's a lot of similarities. There's a lot more armor heroes in this game, and the armor is very interesting in armor stacking, which I refer to a lot in my videos. You also have your weapons, which are, to me, this is way better than the troops. The troops you have in Empire and Puzzles are ridiculously expensive to upgrade. The weapons in this are expensive to upgrade, but in a kind of manageable way. It's not cheap, it's not free, but it's worth doing. Missions stay much the same. Alliance chat and this is your inboxes. Those things stay much the same, and those bits are much the same. So there's a lot of similarities there. You also have your zombie quests and your target practice. Again, 2 things I think could work really well on Empires and Puzzles. I can't see why they haven't copied those across, because they're both quite fun elements of the game. And just lots of different events. And of course you've got, well, this one has really only got, it's got a season 1 map, but the season 1 map is divided into 2 levels of hardness, regular and veteran. The emphasis is now When it started, it was very much like you versus regular military forces, and now they've largely been replaced by kind of zombies and helicopters, and there's a lot of mechanical things and zombies. You still get the odd one, like this motorcycle scout who somehow escaped the redefining of the characters. War machines are the equivalent of Titans, obviously enough. Very similar, and here you can see again we got various zombie things, slasher zombie. When I did my first few videos, none of these people existed. They all, I mean, there were people in their place, but they were not zombies and whatever else have you. And the Hellstein, who is the guy in charge, he's been changed a little bit. He looks a bit more zombie-ish and with a robotic eye and stuff like that. And the Cobalt Army has been renamed the Dread Army, and so on and so forth. So there are changes. How relevant they all are, I mean, they don't necessarily affect the gameplay all that much, but I think it probably just makes it a little bit more fun to play, I guess. Let me just quickly demonstrate. Again, as I say, this is kind of a bit of an introductory video, just considering some of the things, and just really to just sort of to say, the game has been globally released, and as I say, I do recommend it. If you liked Empires and Puzzles at all, I think this is a really fun game. It's a different style. I know that the sort of more modern military style doesn't suit everybody. Sorry, I know some people like that sort of fantasy style you get in Empires and Puzzles, but I just think the game dynamics work better here. I mean, this is sort of pretty similar to Empires and Puzzles. I'll show you now. You've got here's my heroes, so it's a purple war machine. So I'll hit it with my yellow heroes and Blunderbuss, who is basically the equivalent of Wukong from Empires and Puzzles. Battle items are slightly different. There's a few that are better, a few that are worse. Certainly the Chronoblaster, which is the kind of equivalent of the time stop from Empires and Puzzles, is a lot more effective on this game. Also, as well, I should note you can make weapons from a much earlier stage in the game, and you can start training troops in Empires and Puzzles, although base development is sort of largely the same. This isn't going at all well, this attack. Typically enough, whenever I video a war machine attack, it never goes well. I mean, I'm not a major war machine player in the same way as I'm not a major Titan player on Empires and Puzzles. That was particularly disappointing. Actually, it was over 10,000. That's better than I expected, to be fair. So combat items are much the same in a lot of ways. There's a lot of little differences rather than big ones. It's when this game first started, there was a bit of an argument that it was just a retooling of Empires and Puzzles. That isn't really the case anymore. The game has sort of developed. It has gone a different route to Empires and Puzzles in some ways. You've got more sort of events in this than you have in Empires and Puzzles in some ways, but they're very different. So the events is probably the biggest area of changes, particularly, like I say, the Alliance event and things like that. As with Empires and Puzzles, you sort of want to develop your base in a sort of fairly logical way. Oh, that wasn't a very good move. Never mind. Bang. There we are. Like I say, War Machine's not my thing. I just thought I'd have some background noise going on, background video. So there we are. So, like I say, I do recommend this game. I do think it's a game that's worth giving a shot, especially if you liked Empires and Puzzles. If you hated Empires and Puzzles, then dare I say, this probably isn't for you either, unless what put you off was the, what do we call it? The theme, the fantasy theme in Empires and Puzzles, and I don't think most people were put off by that, because you wouldn't download the game if you weren't interested in fantasy themes to begin with. But there we are, that's just my opinion. Hero summoning wise, I do seem to have more success on this game. That may just be me. I can't tell you how it compares to Empires and Puzzles, other than my own experiences, which is that I've had more luck. It's currently at least a smaller game pool, which means there's less players, which means you've got a better chance to develop quickly and be a dominant player and really sort of push for top spots and so on and so forth. And that's certainly something I've enjoyed. I've managed to win a couple of challenge events, which realistically was never going to happen on Empires and Puzzles. In hindsight, particularly now the levels and the difficulties and everything else have got so extreme on that game. yeah, that you would be playing catch up for a long time. Whereas this game, I don't feel has quite got to the same level yet. I think, because it's a smaller pool, I think you've got more of a chance to make a bigger impact. That's my argument at the moment, anyway. So yes, why not give it a go? There we are. That's my plug for Puzzle Combat. There's a thing on here that says recommend a friend, and you can get points. But as I'm not actually recommending a friend directly, it doesn't help me. But I do recommend the game. And yeah, give it a try, give it a shot, give it a go, enjoy it. I will probably try and do a few more sort of videos now that they've done the global release. I'll redo a few of my videos about how to level people up and so on and so forth, which have been out for a little while, but need refreshing because, as I say, an awful lot has changed within about the past year or so as they've sort of honed and polished the game to the extent that it is now. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. As I say, if you enjoy Empires and Puzzles, I do videos on that as well. Periodically, I look for a new game to try, though in fairness, at the moment, real life and work are kind of taking over my priorities, so I tend not to be doing as much as I sometimes do. So yes, at the moment, it's largely sticking with Empires and Puzzles and Puzzle Combat. Yes, as I say, please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell anybody you know. Give my videos a watch. It may not be for them. It depends if you like a rambling British accent or not. Basically, if you don't, I'm not for you. But if you do quite like the kind of sort of random British humour which I feel that I convey, then go for it. Go for it. What have you got to lose? Anyway. Thank you very much for watching. Please, it just remains for me to say, may death come swiftly to your enemies. Take care of yourselves. Farmer Ben wishing everybody all the best. Goodbye.